In a classic shootout in the capital of the Old South, Kyle Busch just simply had more bullets in his chamber. 4 fresh tires was exactly what he needed to make it back to victory lane. It's his second win at Richmond, first win of the season, and second straight win in this spring race at the Richmond International Raceway. Hello everybody and welcome to NASCAR Victory Lane on Speed, fueled by Sunoco. And you know what? This one was a wild one all the way to the end. Kyle Busch had the dominant car early. Looked like it was going to be Jeff Gordon's win at the end, but it was not. It was Kyle Busch who had exactly what he needed to make it back to victory lane. And when you think about a 21-race winless streak, that's not much for other drivers, but for Rowdy Busch, that is a long time to be without a Cup victory. This is where he is used to being. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Victory Lane at Richmond International Raceway. I'm John Roberts. He is race car driver Kenny Wallace. He is Kyle Petty. And guys, we warned you on race day today, don't leave until this thing is over, because you might think it belonged to one driver, but the way we've seen these overtime finishes and the drama in the races so far this season, we knew it could have been anybody's race towards the end.
Well, you know, we're sitting there watching a race, and we're watching Kyle Busch. I mean, race fans. He had only 9 cars on the lead lap. Kyle Busch lapped the whole field, 9 cars on the lead lap at one point. And I said, well, he's gone. And all of a sudden he fades to 5th, and then the race just totally changed.
It was 2 totally different races. If you looked at the 18 car at the very beginning of the race, he just dominated. Like you said, put all those guys lap down. Then it was Jeff Gordon's race until the last restart, the last couple of restarts. When you look at the thing where they pitted and they got tires, and this is the last restart right here. You see the 18 on the outside, and you knew the 18 was going to drive that baby down in the corner. We've seen him do it time and time again. Jeff fights back, and this is where Jeff was strong. But I'm telling you, when the 18 came off that corner with that car length lead, you know, I think Jeff saw the writing on the wall right there.
And what has been so frustrating for Kyle Busch over the past couple of months and even in the last season was there were so many situations where he had a dominant race car and it didn't go his way. But how's this for a number? Kyle Busch led 221 of the first 229 laps. That is a dominant car, and this time it worked out to his advantage to have the 4 fresh tires.
Well, you're sitting in a bar, you're drinking beer, and you say, okay,
I am?
The right car won the race, okay? The dominant car. But let me just say this. 2 drivers that were frustrated up front. Jeff Gordon, he has had 3 races that he could have possibly won. Martinsville, Phoenix, and now here. But Kyle Busch is going to win Phoenix, and he makes a bad pit call. So I was thinking, oh, my God, both these guys are going to go into turn 1, Kyle. And they both stuffed it in there as hard as they could.
And they both went in there as hard as they could, but they both gave each other plenty of room. When you look at it, when you watch that restart, or you watch that last restart again, Jeff drove on down in the corner, but he gave Kyle plenty of room, and Kyle gave Jeff plenty of room. He didn't cut down. He made him run his line, come back up off the corner. And like you said, man, this is a payback for Phoenix. You never get a payback, believe me. When they get away, they're gone. Don't get me wrong. But this goes a long way, I'm sure.
This is a driver who is used to winning races. He's been tearing up NASCAR's 3 top series for the past couple of years. 16 victories before tonight, now 17 for Kyle Busch. And you can see by the smile on his face, he's awfully happy to get one, but even happier to take one away from a late dominance by Jeff Gordon, but also to take one away from the Richmond International Raceway, a very difficult racetrack where anything can happen. You can even get hit in the face with confetti.
And Petty Blue, too.
That's, hey, any color. It doesn't make any difference.
Let me say something here about Jeff Gordon. Jeff Gordon is a 4-time champion. Any driver would be thrilled to death. Jeff Gordon has finished second, like, what, 3 or 4 times out of the last 6 races? But for Jeff Gordon, we watched him come in. He took the window net down, rubbed his face, and he's just miserable because he's 82 wins. He was trying to win 83 tonight.
I'm going to tell you, the frustration has played out over the last couple of weeks with Jeff Gordon. We've heard it in his comments. We've seen it. But hypothetically, we could almost be sitting here at this point in time, and Jeff's got 4 wins under his belt, more than Jimmy Johnson has at this point in time, because he's put themselves, and Steve has put that team in position to win races.
One little more thing. These double file restarts have changed this sport.
Yes, they have.
Forever.
Yes.
Forever. Double file restarts. Unreal.
And very surprising that we didn't go into NASCAR's version of the overtime. It didn't happen with the prescribed 400 laps, but in the end it was Kyle Busch who made it back to victory lane after a 21-race absence. We'll be back to Richmond in a moment.
NASCAR Victory Lane is presented by Sunoco, the official fuel of NASCAR. Put the fuel of NASCAR in your car. Brought to you in part by Honda Generators, the power of choice, and by top-rated New Finish, tough enough to be called the once-a-year car polish.
You know, these guys on this M&M's Camry team have done such an awesome job, and can't thank Dave Rogers.
Race number 10 of the 2010 season brought us to what most people consider the perfect racetrack, the 3/4 mile at the Richmond International Raceway. We've been racing here in the Sprint Cup Series since 1953. What started out as a dirt track, then got paved, changed around in configuration, but has always provided the Saturday night shootouts that we saw tonight. Let's take you back in time when the sun was still high above Richmond International Raceway as the green flag waved. And guess what? It was Kyle Busch who led us to the green after he had that position in the nationwide race at the beginning, but things would be different in the end. But let's take a look at Kyle Busch as he jumped out and started dominating early and often.
And here we go. We're looking at Jeff Gordon on the inside of David Rudiman. Now, David Rudiman had a great race tonight. I think he finished 15th, but right now he's sitting here running third, and they're in line, and they're logging laps early in the race.
Here comes the first yellow of the race. Came out when the number 87 car of Joe Nemechek cut a tire, and that was all she wrote for the 87.
Yeah, and you could see that car drop down on the right front. This car was not a factor in the first little bit. And I mean, and they got a bad pit stop. If you look on the left rear right here, a lug falls off. You see him reach down, he picks up, he puts it back up there, hustles back around. Great recovery. But I'm going to tell you something. The highlight of the first half of the race was the 18 car. No matter what went on pit road, no matter what went on anywhere else, it seems like the 18 car just drove off and left everybody.
Pretty rare event for the number 48 team, but take a look at the number 33. Clint Boyer's won at this racetrack before.
What has become popular at this race is on restarts, making it 3 wide. Clint Boyer does a good job. When he gets in there 3 wide, look, he keeps it right down low. Only a really good driver can do things like that. Stuff it down in there, ride the brakes, keep it on the yellow line.
All right, and look at this. This is the 18 car putting Tony Smoke Stewart a lap down on a short track, and I think this was somewhere around 80 laps. Who would have heard? It's unheard of for Tony Stewart to go a lap down in the first 100 laps of a short track race.
And I just want to make it perfectly clear that this 18 car is lapping Dale Jr. here. At that time, Dale Jr. running 24th. Right now, Dale Jr. is running 24th. This 18 car laps clear up to 9th spot, who was Jimmy Johnson at the time. Here we go, here he comes. Let's see. Wow.
See, right here, these guys race really hard. And I'm going to tell you something. He comes up to lap the 48 car, and the 48's like, this ain't going to happen to me. I'm sorry.
He's sideways and everything.
Call me 4-time, call me whatever you want to. I'm going to get up on the wheel, and I'm going to drive this thing. And I'm going to tell you, he stayed right there. Finally, the 18 got around him, but the caution came out shortly after that. And he got back in on the lead lap.
JR, I want you to tell me the last time the 48 went down a lap under green flag.
It certainly doesn't happen very often, but the wild thing after that was there were only 8 cars on the lead lap, and that made for, on the next caution, 23 wave-around cars, which we believe is an unofficial record.
But right here, this is the Childress organization, the 29, the 33, and the 31. These guys, you know, we talked about them so much early in the year. We talked about how strong Childress was at California, or that organization was at California, that organization was at Vegas. They've come back in the last 2 or 3 weeks.
Special throwback paint scheme for Casey Kane in the number 9 Budweiser car, and here he does battle with Ryan Newman in the 39.
Casey, he didn't have a bad night, but he finished 21st. It looked like he was sideways up off the corner all night long. 2 dirt guys here, 2 sprint car runners, Ryan Newman and Casey Kane doing battle, but giving each other room, but both of them sideways up off the corner all night long.
Take a look at the number 88 car. This is a guy who has won on this racetrack several times before, but this is going to be a very bad break as first Paul Menard gets into him, and then the right tire goes down.
Yeah, you see the Menard got into him, and then right here, Bobby Labonte gets into him. You see that puff of smoke, and as he and Bobby get together right there, it cuts the tire. And he does a great job. I'm going to tell you something. This is hard to do. Flat left rear, he's going to cut clear across 3 lanes of traffic and get in the pits.
And let me defend Bobby Labonte, Paul Menard, race fans, all you Junior fans. Junior was running 25th at this point. He was struggling, so it wasn't like he was a contender. Be easy on these guys that got into Junior. It was just a racing deal.
And there are a lot of racing deals on this track because when you put 43 cars on a 3/4 mile racetrack, there's simply not a lot of real estate left.
Well, I guess leave it up to me to talk to all the junior fans. It's well known you're Junior Nation, and they're like, man, Paul Menard and Bobby Labonte flattened our man's tires. Race fans, that's Richmond. I mean, that's just the way it goes. But I will say these splitters, Kyle.
Oh, yeah.
These splitters are flattening a lot of tires.
Yeah, you see that. You see it everywhere we go. It doesn't make any difference. But you know what? What was really cool about the night, when you watch the race, and if you watch the race and watch the replays, these guys respected each other and gave everybody a lot of room. You see the 24 racing the 18 and the 29 and the 36. Very rarely did people get up into each other. But I'm going to tell you, the splitter, you're exactly right. With the splitter that we have now, just a little bit, and it rubs the sidewall off.
It's like this right here. It's a little knife edge, right front corner of the car. You get in there, it's like sawing the guy's left foot tire. Boom! So
And there it goes.
There it goes. We got to do something about that.
What we have to do right now is take a quick break. When we come back to NASCAR Victory Lane, fueled by Sunoco from Richmond, we'll take you through the second half of the race highlights. Back in a moment to Richmond. Welcome back, everyone, to Victory Lane in Richmond International Raceway, fueled by Sunoco, where Kyle Busch is celebrating his first victory of the season and second in a row at the Spring Sprint Cup Series race here at Richmond. Now, just how dominant was Kyle Busch in the first half of this race? Well, he was led 221 of the 229 laps in the first half, and here we see him again, taking off, running away from everybody.
There was all this talk about the smoke. Everybody's wanting to know, what's the smoke? All I can say, and I'd really like to get the bottom of it one day, is ever since they came with the car of tomorrow, this newer car, they do that, Kyle.
Yeah, and here was the difference for this car for me. This was blue smoke. And that's the part. Most of the time when you see blue smoke, it's an oil leak, it's an exhaust pipe, it's something like that. But, these things burn a lot of fuel, a lot of raw fuel when you see that flame shoot out. Here's a 31 car that came. He was the first guy that really came to challenge the 18 right past the halfway point of the race.
The 31 car goes on to finish fourth. So Jeff Burton from Virginia. I mean, right now, you're thinking, okay, maybe a Virginia guy's going to win.
One of several drivers from Virginia in the race. Jeff Burton went up and challenged Jeff Gordon in the latter half of the race, but these guys were doing a tremendous job, and both drivers very hungry to get back to Victory Lane, a place they're both used to being.
Yeah, Jeff came from third, I think third or fourth on that restart. He ran down the 18 past him, ran down to 31, and then pretty much checked out. The 18 dropped like a rock during this part of the race. I don't know what the problem was, but he dropped back to 8th or 9th position. You see him struggling here with the 33, and the 48, who was so out to lunch in the first part. Chad and those guys made some great adjustments, and he came back in this part of the race.
They always do, no matter where they're racing. They had won 3 of the last 6 coming into this thing, and here we see a couple of teammates with very strong cars. The resurgence of Richard Childress Racing was evident again, and here we go in the pits with Jeff Gordon.
And the resurgence of Jeff Gordon, too. I mean, Jeff Gordon, I say it every week on our shows, he has been in contention to win, I think, at least 7 of our 10 races so far. Clean pit stops, here we go. Black flag for somebody there. Oh, spin
and
out.
A tough break for another Virginia driver. Emporia's Elliott Sadler goes for a spin. And this one didn't turn out well for number 19.
Hey, what great camera work. They're black flagging somebody, and at the same time, our own Elliott Sadler, who is on trackside, spins out, and he cannot get back to the pits, Kyle.
No, and you see these things. When you have flat tires on the COT, that thing just sets down on that front splitter, and he struggled to get back, and that's why that caution was so long.
We thought this might be one of the final restarts of the night with Jeff Burton, Jeff Gordon, and teammate Kevin Harvick in tow, but it wasn't going to be.
Yeah, and this is one of those things. If this had been the last restart, okay, Jeff Gordon is your race winner. We're sitting here with Jeff Gordon behind us because I'm going to tell you what, the 29 and the 31 went at it strong here, and the whole time they're challenging each other and trying to work. You've got Montoya and Kyle Busch back there behind them, and this is where Kyle made a strong move. He got in position, so when that last restart came, he was in the right place.
To me, Kyle, this was the race for the win because when the 18 got by this 29, that made him start on the front row outside on our next restart. But nope, that's not going to happen.
And because there's one more. The 77 goes for a little spin here, gets a wreck, and that brings out another caution flag, Kyle.
Yeah, and the 18 had pitted with something like 23 laps to go and put on 4 tires. So he had fresher tires late in the race than what the 24 did. But you see the 77, he kind of tries to stay off somebody, gets out, loses it, and really gets into that inside wall. And that's a hard hit right there.
Now let's go back. Remember I said that the 18 got by the 29, so that enables him to start on the front row outside.
So he is front row outside because of the double file restarts, and again, just that little bit of fresh rubber on the bottom of the number 18 was enough to let him go on the high side and take it away from
And there's still talk. Everybody's like, you know, Jeff Gordon had the opportunity. Where do I start? Inside, outside. I think the inside was the right spot. I just think he got beat.
The difference was the tires for Kyle Busch as he comes around to take the checkered flag.
And I think the inside was definitely the place for Jeff Gordon because he had been so strong and rolled so good through the center of the corner. He knew that was his strong point.
They wrecked at the checkered flag. Jimmy Johnson, but no harm, no foul, and I think they all finished 8th, 9th, 10th. But there was a wreck at the checkered flag.
There you see the smile on the face of Kyle Busch back in victory lane for the first time. Finishers. Let's take a look at the points, and we have a change on top of the points unofficially. But Kevin Harvick is back in the points lead. That's a place he occupied earlier this season.
He goes to the Southern 500 next week. He goes to Darlington as your points leader.
And look, he's been first. He's been fourth. He's fought his way back to first. There's Kyle Busch, moved up to third. There's Matt Kenseth still hovering right there in the fourth. And, you know, as bad as Greg Biffle run. There he is in fifth place, and Jeff Gordon in sixth.
As you look at the top 12, you notice the absence of Dale Earnhardt Jr. He was in there before, but a tough night tonight has put him out of the top 12. Kyle Busch will be over here momentarily to join us on NASCAR Victory Lane, fueled by Sunoco, and we'll have that when we come back. Welcome back, everyone, to NASCAR Victory Lane, fueled by Sunoco. There is your winning car from race number 1 at Richmond on the year, the second spring race in a row that Kyle Busch has driven to Victory Lane. Now, for most drivers, a 21-race absence from Victory Lane would be no big deal, but not Kyle Busch. He is used to winning races and winning a lot of them. That streak, however long or short it is over now. Kyle, how good does it feel to be back and also to get back the way you did, dominating this race and being there at the end?
Well, it means a lot to get to Victory Lane. You know, you say it's been so long, it feels like it's been that long, you know, but we've had some good times this year. You know, we've been fast this year. We've had some troublesome parts this year, but, you know, tonight that car was flawless in the beginning half of the race. You couldn't do anything to it to make it wrong, but some reason on the long runs there in the second half of the race, we just couldn't keep it going for us. So we ended up just trying to go back a little bit on some of our adjustments and getting back to where we were in the beginning of the race, especially for the short runs because our car was so good there. And thankfully, that's what it was there at the end of the race. You know, we had a couple restarts where we could really get going. Got to the inside of Harvick once, and then was able to get on the outside of Jeff on the final restart and get a good run up off of turn 2 and have enough to clear him up off of turn 4. So, yeah, here's the one. I wanted to make sure I didn't beat Jeff to the line, but got a good enough restart where I could drive it into 1 right here. Thought I drove it in too far, and then got it rotated right there and drove it up off the bottom of the top of the lanes. And got a good run down the back like that.
Kyle, I said you must have grew up watching Ron Hornaday because he is also great on restarts. You said, no, I learned it on my own. Tell me how you learned to have such great restarts.
Well, it came from our local short track at the Bull Ring in Vegas. You know, my brothers and me, we grew up there. But my dad taught us a lot about restarts, how to come through the gears. Sometimes we ran what's called a Brin transmission. And normally you don't even shift those. You just leave it in second, like the dirt cars run and just go. Yeah. We would sometimes shift those. So we learned every technique to every kind of gearbox that we had. We had Legends cars. We'd restart in second gear, have to get to fifth gear. So we had a lot of learning to do, and my dad taught me a lot about it.
Listen up, short track racers.
Now, I got a question. Phoenix, and this got to be a big relief after Phoenix. But at Phoenix, a lot was made about the pit call.
Mm-hmm.
You guys came in and pitted with 23 laps to go and put on 4 tires.
Right.
Jeff and those guys were out. How important was those were the tires at the end of the race, or had they equalized by then?
I don't know. I'm going to say that they were probably important, but I think we still could have done what we did being on equal tires to Jeff Gordon. But, we felt like we had nothing to lose. We're back. I don't even know where we were running, 4th, 5th, 6th, something like that. And we're like, you know what, let's come in. Let's try to get tires and see how this goes. Because if we go green the rest of the way, we're going to need these tires in order to pass these guys. But there was still some cautions in our car. Like I said, was so good on the restarts that we could go by inside, outside, and pick up a couple spots just on the first 2 laps of a restart. So when the caution came out, we already had those spots, so it really worked out for us tonight.
Kyle, you went from dominating. You lapped all the way up to 9th place. Then all of a sudden, you faded all the way back to 5th. Anyway, what did the car do that you lost the lead?
It just kept getting tight in the center on me, which made me do too much rotating. I was working too hard to get the car to rotate with the steering wheel and with the throttle. So then I just kept burning up the front tires and burning up the rear tires on exit, So I kept getting tighter center, looser off. And I don't know why it was doing it. The first 180, 200 laps of the race, It was fine, no problems. But we just kept losing the forward bite, and we kept falling behind. And so we kept trying to make some adjustments to get it back. And Dave made a lot of great race calls. And I got to say, for all the criticism and everything Dave Rogers has gone through this year, from you guys, the media guys.
Everybody.
Not from Daddy.
Yeah, right.
I don't criticize nobody.
You're such a liar.
Write it down.
Wait a minute. Here's what I want to ask.
But anyway, I want to say congratulations to Dave on his first win. So
Congratulations.
that's really cool.
That's huge, man. But I want to tell you something. Yeah, yesterday we did nationwide qualifying on speed, and then you went right into Cup qualifying. You seem to be more relaxed and in a better mood yesterday, and just at peace with Kyle Busch and what was going on here at the racetrack than you've been.
Yeah.
Is there a reason for that, or you were just that confident?
No, nothing really. Just minding my own business, really. I didn't have a great practice in the nationwide car, but felt like we were a second place car to the 22, which that's how we pretty much ran in the race. Unfortunately, I decided to stay out. We ran 4th, and then the Cup car, we unloaded, and I got in that thing, and I was really happy with how consistent it was through the corner. It wasn't loose in, tight center, loose off. It was just nothing in. It was good in, and then a little bit tight center, and then it had pretty good drive off. So we only had to work on one thing all day, and that's the way we got to do it. We got to unload at these racetracks like that, and only have to fight one thing instead of 3 things. Yeah. And you just start when you start further ahead, you end so much further ahead.
Kyle, congratulations on a dominating win. Can you sign our flag for us?
Yeah, sure.
Fine folks at Sunoco.
I'm gonna let you sign with my pen, then I'm gonna sell it on eBay. I'm kidding.
That surprised me. It doesn't surprise me.
I'm kidding,
Each
man.
week here on
That's
NASCAR
probably just
Victory Lane,
value.
fueled by Sunoco, one lucky fan will receive a Sunoco checkered flag autographed by the winner of the race. Enter online at speedtv.com, keyword Sunoco, to win the flag that Kyle Busch is signing right now. Congratulations, Kyle. Way to go.
All right, guys. Thank you so much.
After a relatively short absence from Victory Lane, Kyle Busch is victorious once again in the Heath Calhoun 400 here at the Richmond International Raceway. And another guy who is used to being victorious is Coach Joe Gibbs, team owner and victorious car owner today. Coach, you've seen your share of victories clearly in all different.
It was all front office.
Yeah. Nothing had to do with the driver.
That's all right. Take it, baby. That's good.
Right draft. Good draft
If
call.
you believe that, if you believe that.
But just how precious are these wins, especially at the Sprint Cup level these days?
I got to tell you, absolutely enjoy them. And I think you go through it just like with Kyle this year. It's been a year where we haven't had a win. He's been good, made the most of everything. And to see him get one tonight, and we had the whole Mars family here, a bunch of them here. Todd Lackman's back home with a bunch of friends. We called him. Victoria is here. David's here. It's great to see these guys enjoy it. And I think that's what I get a kick out of. The people that decide to go with you, spend their resources, and say, hey, we want to go racing. And you know what it's like there. And so anyway, I enjoy that. It was a thrill. And plus being here in Richmond, had a lot of Redskins fans. They don't even boo me here. Dallas, they're throwing stuff.
Excellent point. I want to ask you a question. I think Denny finished the year incredibly strong those last 10 races. I think except for a couple of slight incidents, he was going to be there and be in contention. But you guys, and please don't take this the wrong way, you didn't show up at Daytona the way I thought you were going to show up at Daytona. The 20 car did, and the 20 car of Joey Logano has made huge strides and been that.
Right.
Denny Hamlin hurts his knee over the winter. He comes out. You've got that adversity. Kyle doesn't come out of the box as hot as you should.
Right.
What have you guys done over the last 2 or 3 weeks to completely flip that around and be a dominant force over the last 2 or 3
Well,
weeks?
I think with Kyle, I think last year winning that championship in Nationwide, if you watch him, you know, he had about 3 or 4 tough races this year where, you know, I think last year it might have been one of those things where, hey, I'm going for it and bounce something off the wall or something. He's got what's there. He did a good job of taking what's there. He's been patient. And then I think we've had good cars, and he won this one. Now, Denny, totally different. Denny started off real slow. Couldn't get anything going, nothing. And then all of a sudden, after he hurt his knee, for the last 4 or 5 weeks, this week, for some reason here, he's really good here. Our car, I called Mike Ford last night. We couldn't get anything going. And I was proud of him today, finishing 11th. Joey, we continue to see Joey, a young guy. So I don't kind of know how it all fits, but I think, you know, slow start. Now it seems like we're kind of hitting a stride here.
Coach, you know, for the generation gap out there, I mean, you're a Super Bowl champion.
Does this mean I'm old? Is that what you're saying?
there are some people
that's what he's getting.
There are some people that don't know how incredibly successful you are. So now you're not a coach anymore. What do you do with that absence? I'm sure you filled it up.
Yeah, I've definitely filled it up. Here's what I've got. I just called Coy. Our motocross team is out in Utah.
Wow.
We're getting ready to go here in a little bit. We've worked real hard on that. We got everything going over here with everything that happens in cup racing, as you know. I have a favorite saying, within every 10 minutes, something's going to blow up.
And you're there to fix it.
That's
yeah,
true.
and then I got eight grandbabies, man. I got to tell you, you talk about a ball. I went up last week and bought one of those little hot rod things. They're out in the yard, and that thing's going 100 miles an hour. We're breaking stuff and everything else, so
Hey,
I'm having a ball.
Because we like to have fun, what ring are you wearing?
I got the, this is the 87.
Super Bowl champion.
Yeah.
Hold on, let's
yeah,
look
you
at
can
it.
take
We
that.
always
You
do
can
this.
take that.
Let's put it next to your M&Ms. I know
Yeah,
you
right
get
there.
that on there. Look at that. 87.
87, Doug Williams,
Yeah,
right?
87, Doug Williams. That was Doug Williams.
There you go.
That's pretty big.
Yeah. That's
Congratulations.
neat. Yeah, thank you.
Hey,
Thanks,
Coach,
guys.
when you see a guy like Dave Rogers get criticism, which he has taken probably a little bit more than his share of criticism this year, how satisfying is that for you as a leader of this group to see him succeed?
That's the point. You enjoy seeing somebody like that's worked so hard. I got to tell you, he burns it. He is a grinder. He's in there late, and I really think him and Kyle, even though there were some races in there where it didn't go well for us, I think they got a good chemistry. I really do. I think he's very bright. He grinds it. He goes after it, and they I think they got a chemistry going. So I hope that's what we're going to see down the road here.
We quoted you this morning, Coach, because you said back in the day when you first started to come to NASCAR, people compared the crew chief to the head coach, and you said, no, the head NFL coach has it easy compared to the crew chief.
I got to tell you, right now with these double file restarts, I went over to Mike Ford, to tell you the truth, after that one race that we won up there. So I went over to him and I said, I got to apologize to you because I was home and I was freaking out.
Yeah.
I was going absolutely crazy. He goes, hey, I'm sure you weren't the only one. But we've had some great restart finishes in Cup. I think it's been exciting racing. And I do think, too, our fans, I think our numbers, TV, attendance, I got a feeling we're going to take right off again and get
Because of the double file restarts.
Well, not just because of double file. I think NASCAR did one of the best jobs I've seen where they really got engaged. They listened to the fans. They took off the wing, went to the spoiler, told the drivers, hey, you're in charge. Have at it, guys. Race. They went to double file restarts. I think in general, I think they've done a great job of listening to the fans. They had all of us in there 2 or 3 times, all the owners and the drivers.
That's big, listening
they did
to
a
the
good
owners.
job, and I think they've made adjustments, and I think our racing is, I think, great right now.
Yeah,
I agree.
You know, how do you come in here and so much is made of this as a team sport, and you talk about your partners, M&Ms, you talk
Right.
about FedEx, you talk about all those people together. you know, how do you run your organization? You know, we talk about the 20 cars starting out this year, and really, and I know Kyle and Denny really helped Joey and helped these guys along. Do you look at it as you're a 3-car team, or you're a 1-car team, or one team that runs 3 cars?
Well, what we do at the shop, if you see all of our crew chiefs, they sit right in a row, look down on the fab floor. Everybody there works as if it's one team. Then when the guys take off for the weekend to race, you know, you got your A team takes off. And so then at the racetrack, obviously, we still, I don't think at this level, you got everybody has to contribute. And one of the things I think has been great is Joey. Last year, it was kind of like, you know, we were a 2-car team for a while because Joey's just trying to catch on. Everybody's trying to help Joey, and rightly so. No testing or anything. And then this year, he stepped up. And I think that's one of the other things that's helped us right here is Joey starting to, you know, a couple of places, Martinsville and Phoenix, where, you know, he was telling me before the race, I'm not sure, man. I'm not sure I got this place figured out. And Martinsville, he ran out front, you know, all night, so that was great.
Coach Gibbs, congratulations on another win. Thanks for coming by. We appreciate your time.
Yeah, thanks, guys. We appreciate it. Thanks. Also want to mention Interstate Batteries, big part of what we do here. Obviously, FedEx, always with our guys here, and we really appreciate Home Depot. And we had everybody here from Home Depot, too, here tonight. So I got everybody in.
They pay the bills.
Well,
Pat, we
there's
said
a
hello.
guy that's in one Hall of Fame, but coming up this Saturday, we have another Hall of Fame special for you. Speed presents the story of the king, Richard Petty. See how the sport's all-time winningest driver became a legend. Don't miss the NASCAR Hall of Fame biography of Richard Petty next Saturday at 2:30 Eastern, only on Speed. Welcome back, everyone, to NASCAR Victory Lane, fueled by Sunoco from the Richmond International Raceway. You know, there's an old saying in racing that I'm not sure everybody completely agrees with, that second place is simply the first loser. Jeff Gordon is a guy who is used to winning races, and it seems like recently he just simply can't get one to completely fall into a place. Another second-place finish for Jeff Gordon, but I think he'll take this one. Let's go to Bob Dillner.
Jeff Gordon, runner-up. Man, it seems like you can't catch a break.
Yeah, you know, we need some cautions to fall our way. Tonight, our car wasn't very good on the restarts, but we were really good on the long runs. And, you know, I was really proud of this effort tonight because, man, there were times when I felt like we had like a 30th place car and we were still running the top 5. It's just the track got really, really slick. Everybody was sliding around, and we were able to really maintain a pretty decent speed on the long runs and actually get up there and take the lead. But I didn't want to see those cautions there late. I was as worried about Kevin and Burton as anybody on the restarts because, you know, we just struggled a little bit. And I got a couple good restarts, and I was like, okay, here we go. And I saw Kyle getting to second. And I was like, all right, I just got to make like 8 good laps here. And then the caution came out, and I was like, man, this is going to be tough to hold him off. And we both got good starts. It's just my car was a little bit too loose there on the bottom.
Any thought about actually restarting on the outside there, Jeff?
No, all night, you know, Kyle taking the bottom and was even better. He was just phenomenal on restarts. You know, I don't know what happened to him that one time. He had the best car for majority of the race, and something happened. Those guys faded. And, you know, we wanted to see long runs at that point, and we got him until the end, and then it fell his way.
You'll get him soon, dude.
Yeah, no, I'm excited that we're running great. DuPont Chevrolet is just phenomenal right now. Steve, everybody's doing their job. I got a good start tonight, so I'm not gonna beat myself up too much. You know, the cautions didn't fall when we needed to, but we're running great, and I'm excited about that.
Jeff Gordon up 4 spots in the standings to 6th.
Bob, thanks a lot. You know, there's another saying in racing that kind of goes like this. If you're there every week at the end of the race, eventually one is going to go your way. And you have to look at this number 24 team, guys, and say that eventually something's going to break and they're going to get back to victory lane.
Well, I have to agree with Jeff Gordon because, A, he ran good. Look, he just got beat tonight. You know, he should not have won the race, but he had a chance at the end. The right car won the race, and so that way he is happy with himself. He's been a little upset because, you know, things haven't gone his way. Big meeting with Rick Hendrick this week to solve the problem with
the Milk Summit.
The Milk Summit because him and Jimmy Johnson getting in a little turmoil. But tonight, you know, I can understand why he's okay.
Yeah. No, and you know that as a driver. And it's hard to explain to people that you – look, if I finished 4th or 5th in a race and fell into it, Hey, I took the money and went to the house. I'm going to tell you, that's the way it was. But I'm going to tell you what, when you were leading races and contending for the win and something happened and you didn't, you felt dang good and you slept good because you knew that was going to come. It was just a matter of time. And I'm telling you, Jeff has put himself and Steve, they've put that team in position to win 2 or 3, maybe 4 races this year. And if they keep doing that, you know, they're hovering right there, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th in points, right along in there. They're going to be strong when you get to the chase.
39 races without a win for Jeff Gordon and the number 24 team. They are not used to doing that, to being outside of victory lane for that long. So you can expect them to be back very soon, if not really soon, here on the Sprint Cup Series. We also want to remind you that tomorrow night, don't miss an all-new Fast Track to Fame. Actually, it's the Fast Track to Fame from Las Vegas. It's the talent competition so wild it could only happen trackside. Fast Track to Fame from Las Vegas Motor Speedway tomorrow night at 8 Eastern, only on Speed. Part of the fan-friendly All-Star Week of events in NASCAR is NASCAR Revved Up, a free concert in Uptown Charlotte featuring recording artists Switchfoot and Parachute. Visit speedtv.com/allstar for more information. If you ever thought that the Richard Childress Racing resurgence wasn't for real, you didn't pay attention tonight, because it looks like this team is back and back to stay. After coming off a win at Talladega, Kevin Harvick came back once again with a very strong 3rd-place finish. Let's go back to Bob.
A long fight all night long for this guy and his team, but let me tell you something. That was a good fight amongst you top 3, 4, or 5 cars there at the end. Looked like a lot of fun, Kevin.
Yeah, Risa Chevrolet was good all night. We had one hiccup on pit road, and that was it. We had a good car, and we were able to make up ground, but 18 just was really good on those restarts. He had a couple lap fresher tires and was able to get a good drive on the start and stay with Gordon and run around the top, and I couldn't do that, and Jeff couldn't do that up on the top. Our cars were just a little bit freer, so all in all, it was a good night. Happy to have Reese's aboard. They get their 1 race a year, and I'm glad we ran good for them.
Take a look at you in the 18. You know, you had him down low, and then as soon as he got by, you looked like you swapped down low to try to see if you can keep him up top. Did you think it might work?
I thought it was worth trying, but you know, my car was just really, really free getting into corners, and I wasn't able to charge in a corner and roll through the center like I needed to keep him up there. But fun racing with those guys. It's fun when you can race that hard and not tear anything up.
Back on top of the points, dude.
Happy. We've led 10 weeks, so there's no reason we can't lead the last 10 if we do things right.
Happy Harvick is happy again.
Bob, and he should be very happy for as great a career as Kevin Harvick has had. It's funny to think that he hasn't spent more time leading the points, but he spent more weeks on top of the points this year than he has in his whole career.
Well, you know, everything is going good for him right now. The only thing that is not going good was the announcement that Shell is leaving. But they'll gather themselves up. But Kyle, I'm looking at Kevin Harvick, and I'm thinking, okay, he owns his own nationwide team, and he's winning there. Now all of a sudden he's winning in Cup. I mean, he won Talladega last week. I mean, right now he's on top.
Yeah, and how many times do you see this? You see a sponsor leave and the team picks up
What
the
is
pace.
going? That happens all the time.
But in this case, it's different. This team had picked up the pace before the sponsor left. You know what I mean? And I really, you know, even where we're at and everything that's going on, I know it's going to be a struggle to replace that. But you look at that organization. They disappeared a little bit, you know, and they weren't there for 2 or 3 races. If we go back to Atlanta and a couple of those, they had decent finishes. But these last 2 or 3 races, you go Talladega, Jeff Burton had one of the best cars at Talladega, if not the best car, and Harvick wins the race. You come here, Jeff Burton again has a strong car, the 33 of Boyer. These guys run in the top 5 or 6 all day long. And I think that shows how we talked to Coach Gibbs about a 3-car team and how it works. This 3-car team is working as well as any other team in racing right now.
And I might say one of the stories in the garage area is that Shell Pennzoil is one of the biggest sponsors, if not the biggest sponsor in NASCAR. RCR Racing could have folded and went, oh, but they're rolling still. I mean, they're digging. You know, some things can depress you as a team, and you hang your head. But this team right here with Reese's on a board, little Shell Pennzoil sticker there, Chevrolet, they're still rolling, and they're not hanging their heads, so that's really good for that team.
And if you're out there shopping for a sponsor, nothing better than winning races to help you in that search. We'll be back to NASCAR Victory Lane in just a moment, but first, Speed Primetime is packed with NASCAR fun with NASCAR Race Hub, presented by Hooters at 7:30 and Fast Track to Fame at 8. The Racing Chef comes to you at 9 p.m., followed by the Sounds of NASCAR at 9:30 p.m. NASCAR in a Hurry at 10, and then Jimmy Spencer at 10:30. It all begins Monday at 7:30 Eastern, only on Speed.
NASCAR Victory Lane is presented by Sunoco, the official fuel of NASCAR. Put the fuel of NASCAR in your car. Brought to you in part by Honda Generators, the power of choice. And by New Finish Cling Instant Detailer, the shine that sticks.
Absolutely beautiful night here in the capital of the Old South, Richmond, Virginia. And, you know, we've been talking a lot in this show about teams that have been doing very well so far this season. And one team that has been exceeding expectations has been Michael Waltrip Racing. And tonight their charge was led by 7th place Martin Truex Jr. Let's go back to Bob Dillner.
Martin Truex Jr. with a whale of a run here tonight at Richmond International. Almost a top 5 finish until that last restart there.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'd like to run in the top 5. That'd have been nice. But what a job by all these guys in the Snap to Toyota. We started the race and we were really bad. I mean, just hanging on to run 28th, 30th, and just kept working on it all night. And we got to a point there with about, I guess, 200 to go, or 150, somewhere in there. We had all those long green runs that were really fast, faster to leaders, really, really good. And then we kind of quit adjusting on it, and then we lost it again. So it was a great night. I told Pat that I've never had a car that start that bad and actually make a race car out of it, something I can drive. So just proud of them for all their efforts. It's a work in progress. We're still constantly growing as a team and getting better, but tonight was really good for us. And just want to thank all those guys, all the guys back in the shop, everybody at Toyota and Napa, and it was really good.
Martin tells me he needs top 10s. He got one here tonight.
Man, that's exactly right, Bob. Great job by that crew. And when you look at the addition of Michael Waltrip Racing, of driver Martin Truex Jr. and also crew chief Pat Tryson, that is clearly paying dividends.
Yeah, it is. You know, I think Pat brought a lot to the table, and some stability. You know, we had him on NASCAR Smarts the other night, but I think he brings a calmness and stability to that whole organization. When you look at the 56, when you look at the 00, when you look at the 47, when you look at everything they have going, he brought a lot over from the Penske organization to get them headed in the right direction.
And very simply put, if Michael Waltrip Racing's team does not blow motors, those motormen have got to get their act together. Michael Waltrip Racing, they have been blowing motors every single race. And when they don't blow motors, they finish 7th, 9th, and 15th. That's what happens, guys. Make sure the motors quit blowing up.
And also to begin the weekend, it was David Rudiman who qualified second, started outside of the front row, and that's got to tell you something. They've got their act together all weekend long.
Yeah, total weekend. And just like Kyle Busch said here, he said when you start good, you finish good. We've got to make ourselves start good. The Michael Waltrip Racing is starting good. They're going to start finishing a lot better.
Well, it was Kyle Busch who started good and finished good today as well, as he started on the pole and won the race. His first trip to Victory Lane this season, but second in this spring race here at Richmond. Want to thank the fine folks at RIR for being so hospitable. Now let's take a look in the rearview mirror.